qualifying. He had a mighty fine battle for the race lead at rounds 1 before unfortunately being disqualified from race 2 of round 1 for too many contacts. There's a 30 incident point limit here for the World Touring Car Championships, and as soon as you exceed that, you do get disqualified from the races, unfortunately. Luciano Whitford, he's a name synonymous to race room, and he bumps himself up to second place then, only 1/10 away from Ian Egan, who also crosses the line. He doesn't improve. So it's Ian Egan, Whitford and Lloyd Biddulph leading the way. Those were the three protagonists at the front of the grid last time round at the Red Bull Ring, with Matteo Catalan coming across the line in 4th place, almost a whole second adrift of the top 3 then. As we look down the order then, Lee Horn for Next Gen Racing, he's there in 5th place. Lee Taylor is currently in 6th, he's a privateer, he's not with any race team. Sam Shelton is there in 7th place, 1.6 seconds off the lead. Marcus Dewsma is in 8th. Fraser Rostance is in 9th, another Next Gen Racing gentleman then. So I do believe we've got 2 Next Gen racing drivers in this championship. Kalowski there in 10th place, and we've got 18 runners and riders currently out there qualifying with 3 minutes left on the clock. Just outside the top 10 is Matteo Giuli. We've got a couple of Ballas Esports drivers with us, as we've got 19 drivers with us for round 2 actually. I would be on the grid with them to make it 20, but I'm in the commentary box. John's still not well, so he is on the broadcast duties in the background, but unfortunately we still don't get to hear his lovely Scottish voice. James Rawlins then in 14th, he's 3 seconds off the lead. And something I found when I was practicing for round 2 here before coming into the commentary box was it's such a long lap at Sepang that if you're just ever so slightly off the pace, it really does mess with your lap. And as we can see, these drivers just outside the top 15, they're 3 seconds plus off the leader's pace, and because the lap is such a long lap, you know, it's almost double the length of Red Bull Ring, so you really do get exposed if you're just even just slightly off the pace, which is unfortunate for these drivers at the rear of the field. But we do have the reverse grid for race 2, so those drivers that qualify in 18th and above get reversed. 18th place finisher will start on pole for race 2, and it will work its way down the grid like that in reverse order. So the winner of race 1 will start right at the rear of the field. As we're riding back on board with Ian Egan, he's still at the head of this field. The 2:12.7 still to the good, as he's actually knocked off the top perch then. Luciano Whitford does take the pole position lead. Nothing to separate those two. That's mighty close. 0.063 of a second separating these two. I think we're going to be in for a mighty battle for the race lead and win here at race 1 at least, between Whitford, Egan and Biddulph, if it's anything to go by from round 1, to say the least. Lee Taylor pops it up to 4th place, splitting the Ballas Esports driver Catalan, knocking him down to 5th place. So he's having a good showing here once again. And there's less than a minute on the clock left in qualifying, which means these drivers don't have long to get their laps in. They need to be almost complete. They need to be in the 3rd sector of the lap, because once that time in Delta ticks down to 0, qualifying is over. Not many drivers left out on track. Ian Egan is currently down on his best time. We don't think he's going to get the job done this time around. He's going to have to settle for 2nd best, as that is qualifying over then. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Whitford takes pole position. Ian Egan takes 2nd place. Lloyd Biddulph and Lee Taylor are on the 2nd row. Catalan and Horn are on the 3rd row. Fabio Gill and Cody Cosford on the 4th row. And rounding out the top 10 is Kalowski and Sam Shelton. Fraser Rostance then can only pop into 11th place. Dewsma is there in 12th. Zachtel is in 13th with Giudi in 14th. and then bringing up the rear of the field the final 5 places, sorry, for Rawlins, Stinger, Morris, Bell, and Ari Evans. And look at that, I couldn't have timed that any better myself. We're into the 2-minute warm-up. This is Sepang Grand Prix. This is round 2 of the WTCRs. Welcome in the chat if you're joining us for another SOP broadcast. That reminds me, I need to just send everybody that lovely message in the Discord to say that we are live. They're going to love that, I'm sure. So less than a minute on their warm-up then. It's Luciano Whitford on pole position once again. These drivers will line up on the grid very shortly for a standing start. Hopefully we don't see any jump starts here for race 1 at round number 2. Hopefully everybody gets away cleanly. It is a very tight turn 1, 2, 3 sequence here at Sepang. I'm sure that's going to catch a number of drivers out. And it was relatively incident-free actually at round 1. I mean, as incident-free as you can get for touring car racing, because there's the natural bit of door banging that goes on, a bit of rubbing his racing situations. But hopefully we can have some fantastic racing just like we did at round number 1 at the Red Bull Ring. So as we have the final 45 minutes with the drivers on the grid, the standings are on show for you. Whitford leading the way in the championship, Ian Egan in second, Lee Horn is third with Catalan in fourth. Pereira is fifth and Lee Taylor is in sixth. Dewsma, Sam Shelton and Biddulph with Cody Cosford rounding out the top 10. There I am in 12th, but unfortunately I'm not on the grid today. I'm in the commentary booth.
And I feel eternally grateful. And I'm going to feel guilty as well.
As we switch back to the action because there's 10 seconds left for the drivers on the grid. We wait for the lights to turn to green. They're going to get their red light countdown and we'll be away for the first race up round number 2. 20 minutes of action coming up. The lights turn to green and we're away and going. Luciano Whitford takes them away. We do seem to have a couple of Coopers at the front of the field. It was like that for round 1 at Red Bull. Doesn't look like he's going to be challenging to round 1. Let's see. It looks like Ian Egan and Lloyd Biddulph switching to the outside then. Is he going to get the move done? This is fantastic stuff to see. As they go side by side, neck and neck into turn 1, into turn 2. Bit of bumping and grinding going on between these touring cars. Someone's around in the background. All the action is going on. It's Luciano Whitford leading the way though. Biddulph has actually taken the lead. So it's nothing to choose between these two. Once again, they did battle at round 1 of race 1. They're going for it once again. Ian Egan just behind. He's there in third place, so he's lost second place off the grid to Biddulph. So Biddulph's had a fantastic start going from third to first as everything's trying to settle down between everyone else behind this lead battle then. Bumper to bumper they still go, looking for a move up the inside in the Hyundai. Lee Horner is trying to defend in these early stages of race 1 at round number 2. It looks like he's got the job done. He's holding on to that position. Great defending. He's holding that line nicely. As Biddulph still leads and nothing to separate Biddulph and Whitford. Egan in there in third place. Almost gets tagged on the rear end there. as he's trying to escape this pack and close back up onto the top two. Matteo Catalan for Ballas Esports there in 4th place. He's having a strong show, and Lee Horn in 6th place. Coming through is Lee Taylor in the Honda, trying to show these Cupras what he's made of. As we are approaching then, lap 1 done and dusted. Coming down the long back straight, they are Whitfoot trying to hold off. Sorry, Biddulph trying to hold off from Whitfoot, who's looking for a little nosy up the inside. Hasn't quite got the legs this time around. They'll tuck in single file round the final corner they go. Biddulph just doing enough as it is for lap number 1. 17 minutes still on the clock then, almost 3 whole minutes from a standing start formation to complete one single lap, but it is Biddulph leading the way from Luciano Whitfoot. Ian Egan holding off Catalan and Taylor, with Lee Horn just behind. Lee Taylor is a fantastic battle going on for the top 8 places here then, nothing to choose between all of them. We ride on board with Lee Taylor, Matteo Catalan actually, and we'll see what's going on. Lee Horn, actually. Thanks, John, for making my life hard. We'll have some bumper action from Lee Horn then, watching all the action in front of him. Hopefully he can capitalise on something if they do get entangled. Nothing of sorts happening thus far, though, as he needs to look at the rear end of that Honda once more, as this is fantastic racing up and down the grid. So we'll go through the top 10. It is Whitfoot now leading the way. Biddulph's down to 2nd. We missed the move. Whitfoot's got the job done. Lloyd Biddulph's just behind. Ian Egan defending once again. Catalan's through, actually. So Catalan and Ian Egan going for it for 3rd and 4th place, as Lee Taylor, Lee Horn, Gill, Kalowski, Rostance and Cosford make up the top 10. Just outside is Giuli Stinger, Zach Dalbell, Dewsma Rawlins, Morris Evans and Sam Shelton right at the rear of the field. That must have been the injured casualty driver at turn 1. We saw someone facing the wrong way. It must have been Sam Shelton, because he had a decent qualifying, but he is at the rear of the field as it stands with all the work to do. Well, I say all the work to do. He only needs to make up 1 position, and then he will be starting race 2 from pole position, because it is that reverse grid that we've got. So hopefully he can make that work for him. As Ian Egan is under pressure actually from Lee Taylor, looking to go right round the outside. Can't quite make that stick then. That's the wrong racing line to be on. So Ian Egan holds on for now, just about. He's doing everything he can to hold on to 3rd. He had a brilliant qualifying. He qualified in 2nd. His racecraft is just not quite up to speed just yet. He's just holding on to 3rd. Into 4th, sorry, actually, yes, because Catalan's got the jump on him as well. So Lee Horn, Lee Taylor and Gill are all hounding Ian Egan for that 4th place position. Can he hold on to it for much longer? Only time will tell. Or is he going to succumb to the pressure? He's on the inside line. He's defending for all he can. These Cupras are saying, please speed up. We need that position. Ian Egan, Catalan and Horn. Lee Taylor just behind, watching once again as this battle unfolds. Ian Egan now up to 3rd place then, so he does get the move done on Catalan. Catalan back down to 4th, as this is a fantastic racing going on once again for the WTCRs. Round 2, race 1 here at Sepang. The top 2 are pretty much away and gone, as we're looking at Cody Cosford then, looking to get the move up the inside into 9th. This is fantastic racing. Cupras up and down the field in this top 10 then. They definitely have the performance over the rest of the WTCRs, it seems. We've got a Honda and 2 Hyundais sharing that top 10 with 7 Cupras. So it goes to show how this balance of performance is played out here at Sepang. Not favouring those cars that are not in the Cupras. But nothing to take away from Lee Taylor, Gill and Rostance, who are trying their best to show their hand in the Hondas and Hyundais. But it is Whitford now. He's pulled out 1 second of a gap over Biddulph, and they are away and gone. 3.5 seconds further down the field is Ian Egan. He's still got his rear view mirror full of Catalan, with Horn, Taylor and Gill not too far behind. Just dropping off that top 8 is Ross Stantz. He did qualify outside of the top 10, so he's made some positions up so far. Fraser Rostance, he's up into 8th place then. That's a good showing for race 1. As we are riding on board with Paul Stinger then, looks like he's slowing down. He must have a slow down penalty. He does, yes, there we go. Stewards decision, we just see it pop up on stream then. That must be a mighty slow down penalty, because he's lost a hell of a lot of positions there. As Dewsma and Bell and Zachtel find their way through. As we, again, Cody Cosford, he's looking for a move. That 9th place position with Kalowski. Brilliant switch back there. That is a textbook maneuver, outside to inside, gets the job done. That was a brilliant switch back from Cody Cosford in the Ballas Esports team. Seems like half the grid are made up of Ballas Esports right now. Matteo Catalan there in 4th place. So we got Ballas in 1st, Ballas in 4th, Ballas in 9th. They're certainly showing the field how to drive. As we still ride on board with Matteo Catalan then. Just slipping away ever so slightly from Ian Egan. Hello everybody in the chat, thank you for joining us. Again, we've got the lovely Welshman called Simon in the commentary box, and Mr. 00 Raven on the broadcast. We're still yet to hear his voice. Hopefully he comes back in February to take the reins.
That is indeed the plan.
Lovely. As we are watching the battle between Taylor and Gill then, trading paints in the Hyundai and Honda. Barry Evans with a slow down penalty. And Ian Egan under pressure then. As he's dropped down to 4th place then, or is he going to lose another position then? Looking for a move up the inside. He's going to have the inside line into turn 2, so it's going to work in his favour. Seems that Catalan, Egan and Horn are inseparable at this stage of the race. Half of the race distance is now gone. We've got 5 Cupras occupying the top 5 spots. And there's been a bit of contact between Cosford and Kowalski. Just dropped down the order ever so slightly. But Cosford is holding on to that 9th spot. Julie is moved up to 10th. And Kowalski is down in 11th then. So all positions changing, all action right through the pack. Fabio Gill, he's sort of in a good spot right now in 7th place. He's got a bit of air between himself, behind and in front of him. I'm sure that's going to be working in his favour, so we can just get those laps in as we look for a dive up the inside with the Honda. Who's he going up the inside of? Has he got the move done? I think that's Ian Egan dropping down places, down to 6th, down to 7th. It's going from bad to worse for Ian Egan. He started in 2nd place. He is now down into 6th, trying to hold off Fraser Rostance, who's the next one. Oh no, sorry, Fabian Gill is the next one, as Egan is sliding that car around. Doesn't look like he's too happy with the race setup here for race 1. Maybe he's going to change something for race 2, but it's not working for him right now as he's slipping down the order even further. Fraser Rostance with a slow down penalty, so he's going to fall back even more from the top 7 as Gill is next in line to pressure Ian Egan. He's going to have a move up the inside. Not this time around, so Ian Egan holds on to 6th place for this lap at least. As Whitford is doing what Whitford does best, he's pulling out that lead. He's almost 2 seconds now over Lloyd Biddulph. Those two are away and gone. They've got 4 seconds to Matteo Catalan, who's got half a second to Lee Horn. That's the top 4. Lee Taylor looks comfortable in 5th at the minute because Ian Egan is struggling down in 6th. He's got to hold off Gill for another 8 minutes. And there seems to be nothing to separate this mid pack of the top 10. Horn, Taylor, Egan, Gill. They've been trading places right from the word go. It's fantastic to see as we look further down the field. Marcus Jusma in 13th place then. He's looking to make moves on Zach Dahl. As it looks like it's going to be round 2 between Kalowski and Cosford very soon. They're getting all close together once again. The Ballas Esports driver occupying that 10th place position as it stands. But he's going to have his rearview mirror full of Kalowski, not in the new distant future. And so we're going to have a look through down the field then. 7 minutes remaining. Luciano Whitford leading the way. Lloyd Biddulph there in 2nd place. Another strong showing from him. Matteo Catalan currently in 3rd, but coming under pressure ever increasingly from Mr. Lee Horn for Next Gen Racing. He's having a strong showing, looking to get a move up the inside for that final podium position, but not this time around. There in 5th place, we've got Lee Taylor. He's making progress in the Honda. He's showing these Cupras how it's done. Just behind that is Ian Egan then in 6th place. Looking like he's settling in that 6th place now. As Fabio Gill for Trip 6 Motorsport is just sliding off the rear of Ian Egan currently. And just behind that we've got Fraser Rostance then, the Next Gen Racing driver. 2 Next Gen Racing drivers joining us for our inaugural WTCR Championship. Matteo Giuli makes up the 3rd Ballas Esports driver, with Cody Cosford rounding out the 4 Ballas Esports team drivers in this championship. And that is the top 10, as he's definitely under pressure once again from Kalowski. Here they go for round 2. They're not done fighting for position just yet, as we ride on board with the beautiful bumper shots once again. We'll see if Kalowski can get that job done on this lap. He's edged ever closer in the final 2 laps just previous, and he's looking ever more racier driver at this stage of the race. But just outside the top 10 we do have Zach Dahl. We've just touched on Jusma, who's again closing up on that 12th place position. This is turning into a fantastic battle as well, as he's just been handed a slow down penalty for an off-track excursion. Chris Bell holds on to 14th for the Sausage Dodgers racing team. We did have a few of them appear for round 1. I know that we've lost Ben Sullivan for round 2 at least. Paul Stinger is there in 15th place, having a bit of a lonely race at the rear of the field, as is Sam Shelton, caught up in that lap 1 incident. So all the work to do, he was completely at the rear of the field. He's now in 16th place. Hugh Morris is in 17th with a wayward James Rawlins just behind them, picking up track penalties left, right and centre. Continuing to abuse track limits, James Rawlins, you need to slow down. With Barry Evans taking up the rear of the field then. Barry Evans is going to be the unfortunate driver. If he finishes in 19th, he will again start 19th, unfortunately, because it is only the top 18 that have the reverse grid in this WTCR Championship. But we ride back on board with Lee Horn then. 4 minutes remaining. He sits in 4th place. He's having a solid race so far, and he's doing everything he can, but he hasn't quite got the legs to catch Matteo Catalan at this stage of the race. Less than a second separates these two though, so all still to play for in the final 4 minutes, as they cross the line to complete another lap into turn 1. No, this isn't turn 1. I get the starting. Oh, it is turn 1. Yes, it is turn 1. There we go. I was confusing myself there. Round turn 1, round turn 2, round turn 3 they go. Still on board with Lee Horn then in that 4th place position. Still around half a second off Matteo Catalan in third, as there's a good battle going on just behind then. Lee Taylor and Ian Egan doing battle for 5th place. Ian Egan trying to come back up the order. He started in 2nd, he's dropped down to 6th. He's trying to get back up to 5th, as this battle for the podium is not over either. A fantastic battles here going on between Lee Horn and Lee Taylor. Battle of the Lees, as they've just dropped off the back. Sorry, I'm getting confused. That's Lee Horn and Matteo Catalan. So Lee Horn's just got the job done over Catalan, it seems. Found his way up the inside. Hard on the brakes there. We saw the squiggly lines coming out of that braking zone, as Lee Horn and Matteo Catalan trading paint once again for the final podium position here at race 1 of round number 2. We go to the rear of the top 10 places then. We've got Giuli, Cosford and Kalowski then all embroiled in a battle for that 8th place position. Now they've closed up to that 8th place position, 9th place position, sorry, whilst they're trying to negotiate each other at the same time. This is going to be a fantastic race to the finish between these three for 9th, 10th and 11th place. And I am finding that these WTCRs create some fantastic racing. You know, they can really go bumper to bumper, door to door, without too much consequence. Doesn't look like we've had any disqualifications this time around, which is nice to see. No one's picked up too many incident points as they motor on, which is surely to be the final lap of the race. There might be one more after this, depending on how far up Luciano Whitford is on the racetrack. He quickly took he did take the lead off the start, because he took pole position. So Luciano Whitford has led away from pole. He's pretty much been unchallenged after the first lap. Lloyd Biddulph has slowly dropped away. 3.1 seconds is the gap now for the 2nd place man. But those two are comfortably ahead of the rest. Matteo Catalan almost 5 seconds adrift of Lloyd Biddulph in 3rd. He's had to defend with all his might, because Matteo Catalan has not been able to shake off Lee Horn at all in this race, and it looks like it's going to be last lap chances now for Lee Horn if he wants to get hold of that 3rd place. He hasn't been able to do it at any point during the entirety of the 20 minutes, as Lee Taylor just behind gets a slowdown, trying to do battle with Ian Egan. As we go back to Cosford and Kalowski, they're doing battle in the final 30 seconds of this race. I'm sure this battle is not helped by the fact that they closed up on Giuli as well. As I think that Zachtel actually is also closing up on this battle. We've got a 4-5-way battle, because there's Jusman just behind as well. A 5-way battle for 10th place. As is this the time for the move? That was so close to being a total wipeout there. Lee Horn getting very slidey as they both enter the back straight then. One more corner to go for these two, and they will complete another lap. But coming round is Luciano Whitford. Lights are flashing. He takes the win. That's his 3rd race win of the season so far. Clean sweep from all 3 races that have been. Lloyd Biddulph takes another solid 2nd place. Catalan holds on to 3rd. Lee Horn takes 4th. Lee Taylor takes 5th. Ian Egan isn't going to be happy with 6th. Fabio Gill takes 7th. Fraser Rostance takes 8th. Kalowski picks up the 9th. Giuli is in 10th and Cosford is in 11th. All changed between these 3 right at the very last moments. Jusman and Zachtel come over in 12th and 13th. And then completing all the runners and riders is going to be Chris Bell, Paul Stinger, Sam Shelton, Hugh Morris, James Rawlins and Barry Evans. And that is race number 1. Most importantly is for James Rawlins in 18th place. He will start from pole position for race 2. Luciano Whitford's got all the work to do. He's going to be down in 18th place. Will he be able to negotiate the entire field to get back up to win race number 2, as he did at the Red Bull Ring. It is a mighty long lap here at Sepang, so anything can happen. I mean, Ian Egan's got to be thinking he's actually in a pretty solid place from where he's going to be starting. He's going to be several places ahead of Lloyd and Luciano for race number 2. As long as he can keep a clean race together, you know, he's got the pace in him because he took 2nd place on the grid for race 1. So he just needs to have a clean race. Maybe he can negotiate the slower traffic in front of him before Lloyd and Luciano can get to him. Well, how was that, everybody? That was race number 1. That was full of action. Hopefully you stick around and join us for race number 2. Everything to play for between all these drivers. But as it stands for race 1, Luciano Whitford took the pole, took the win, going to take a commanding lead in the championship. Lloyd Biddulph took 2nd. He had a 2nd place at round 1, but he also had a DNF, so he's trying to work his way back up the standings in the championship. Ian Egan, who sat 2nd in the standings, he could only manage 6th place at race 1. And Matteo Catalan had a strong showing to finish 3rd, but all eyes are going to be at the front of this field because it's going to be James Rawlins and Hugh Morris that occupy the front row after finishing in 17th and 18th place for race 1. Yep, all good. So just 10 seconds left on the warm-up before the drivers go back to the grid for another 20-minute race here at Sepang. It is 2 races per round, 20 minutes each. 40 minutes worth of racing action for these drivers. I think I would have probably finished around the top 10 there, John.
I mean, what do we think in chat? We'll start a poll. We'll
start a poll.
We'll start a poll in chat, Simon. Let me just do some of these ones back.
It'd be cool. I would love to see a 2011 to 2015 DTM Championship in Race Room. I would honestly cancel all ACC races to do it. These DTMs are one of my favourite cars ever. I mean, we're definitely going to do some one-off races, so we could definitely look at a 2011 to 2015 DTMs at the Nordschleife. But we will get on with the racing because the red lights are counting down for race number 2. Luciano Whitford, race winner at race 1. He's starting from 18th on the grid here for race 2. We'll see how he can negotiate the entire field. But it is James Rawlins that leads the way. Sam Shelton actually in 2nd place then. As is completely roles reversed, we got the Audis, the Hondas, the Hyundais and the Lynx & Co cars all at the front of the grid here for race 2. Hugh Morris is there in 9th place. He's going to be swamped by these drivers trying to get through, as we'll let all these drivers sort themselves out. Ian Egan in 14th place. He's got a lot of work to do. We'll see how quickly all these other drivers can make their way back up through the field. As is contact, half spinners, all the actions going on in this mid-pack as these leaders from race 1 are trying to negotiate themselves back up through the grid for race 2. It is Sam Shelton that is leading the way. He was the driver that got wiped out at race 1. I said he'd be one to watch for race 2. He's got the lead. James Rawlins is there in second. Chris Bell is there in third. Paul Stinger is in fourth. Cody Cosford could be one to watch in 5th place. Marcus Dewsman could be one to watch in 6th place. We need to see how this action unfolds, as it's getting all so messy for race 2. Everybody needs to calm down ever so slightly then, as they're all trying to get their way back up through the field. That is not how you do a successful overtake, gentlemen, as some of these wounded drivers are going to be missing out on some positions quite dramatically now after that. But we will focus our attention on the front of the field, because it is Sam Shelton leading the way from James Rawlins and Chris Bell. Those top 3 have had a clean getaway. Paul Stinger holding on to 4th. Cody Cosford in 5th. And look at that. Luciano Whitford already up into 6th place. And it hasn't even been a full lap of this Sepang Grand Prix circuit. Marcus Dewsma is there in 7th. Catalan is in 8th. Ian Egan in 9th. Fraser Roston's in 10th. Lee Horn in 11th. Lloyd Biddulph in 12th. As positions are being shuffled up and down the order still. So it's getting quite crazy still out there, as Luciano Whitford is in 5th place, trying to look at the inside of Paul Stinger. Gets the job done on that one. Next up is Chris Bell. He's waiting patiently. He's got the speed, we know that much. Chris Bell is holding on to 3rd. As it stands, Luciano Whitford surely going to make a move up the inside as they enter turn number 4. Here he goes then, later on the brakes, not quite, as he's muscling his way past then, trying to get past Chris Bell there. Can't quite get the job done though. Chris Bell holds on for the time being. I think it's only inevitable that Luciano Whitford is going to be able to make his way past Chris Bell though. Can James Rawlins, can Sam Shedden hold on? There goes Luciano Whitford. So he's moved up into the top 3 already on lap number 2. That's going to demote Chris Bell, and we got a massive 4-way battle going on here between Marcus Dewsman, Lee Horn, Lloyd Biddulph, Fraser Rostance is all happening just behind. This is the top 10. Marcus Dewsman, Lee Horn, Biddulph, Rostance and Catalan. They're all fighting a 5-way battle for 6th place position. Just in front of them is Cosford Bell. Whitford now pulling away, closing in on those top 2, as we've still got 19 runners and riders. Hugh Morris now at the rear of the field. Barry Evans in 18th. Kalowski's having a terrible race 2. He's there in 17th. Zach Dahl is in 16th. Lee Taylor is in 15th. A tale of 2 fortunes, it seems, with Gewley just ahead in 14th. Stinger now in 13th. Gale moved up to 12th. Ian Egan still finds himself outside of the top 10, with Marcus Dewsma just ahead in that 10th place position, as Ian Egan looks to make a move up the inside. Gets the job done. Into the top 10 he goes. Lee Horn is next in line in 9th, with Lloyd Biddulph in 8th. You would think that Biddulph, Horn and Egan should make their way as a trio back up the field, possibly inside the top 10 with 15 minutes still to go, as Rostance is trying to defend in that Hyundai. He's getting muscled back down the order though. Rostance holding on to 8th, trying to fend off from Lee Horn. Lee Horn looking to go around the out. Oh! That is not how it should be happening. Lee Horn, I mean, he was being pushed over, he was being pushed onto the grass, I can't really say who was at fault for that one from the commentary box, but it did look like Lee Holm was being forced onto the grass, and then Fraser Roston's almost a T-bone effect. He was just a little bit too far ahead in that rear quarter. That caught the front end of that Cooper and it just sent him into the barriers. But they still motor on. Lee Horn is in 8th. He hasn't actually lost too much positions. Biddulph is in 7th. Ian Egan is in 9th. As Whitford has now moved up into 2nd place then. So Whitford not too far off the leader, Sam Shedden. As Whitford is on a charge. He is not a man that you want to see in your mirrors, is Luciano Whitford. I'm sure it's not going to be long before he's taken the race lead. But Lloyd Biddulph is in 7th. Ian Egan is in 8th. Lee Horn has dropped down to 9th then. This is a fantastic battle going on. Cody Cosford just ahead as well. I did say you should be watching out for these three. They should be able to make their way back up into the top 5. As Lloyd Biddulph is battling there with Cody Cosford side by side. A bit of door banging once again as Cosford holds off Biddulph for now. Ian Egan looking to pounce just behind as Whitford looking to go right round the outside. He does get late on the brakes. He says, thank you very much. Back into the lead. Here we go. Lap number 3. Luciano Whitford in that all too familiar first place position. Would you believe he started right at the rear of the field? He seems to be a master of negotiating all the traffic in these reverse race grids. Matteo Catalan back up to 4th after finishing race 1 in 4th place. So that's a strong showing again. 2 4th place finishes for Matteo Catalan as it stands. As he's just taken 3rd then, right round the outside of the Audi. Fantastic move. James Rawlins, he's trying everything he can to hold on to a top 5 position then. He started in the top 3 and he's now down to 4th courtesy of Matteo Catalan. Chris Bell is the buffer between himself and Lloyd Biddulph, Cosford and Egan, as we are riding on board with the rear view of Cody Cosford. There in 7th place. He's got his rear view mirrors full of Ian Egan. Can he hold on to that position for much longer? Egan does look like the faster of the 2 drivers at this stage of the race. As Biddulph has got his way past Bell. As Chris Bell, I did say Bell was the buffer in this battle. Biddulph's been able to dispatch Bell. Cosford has got past Bell as well. So the Honda man is now slowly falling down the field. Ian Egan through as well. Someone out on the grass. This is going to get messy once again as they come onto the back straight. Looks like they're going 3 or 4 wide into the final turn then. Again, a bit of door banging going on. This is touring car racing, ladies and gentlemen. Ian Egan, Cody Cosford, Fabio Gill. Nothing to choose between these. James Rawlin doing everything he can to hold on to 5th place. I don't think he's going to hold it for much longer as Egan and Cosford are both looking to go right round the outside. And just behind that, you've got Horn and Bell and Gill all getting in on the action. Fabian Gill moving up to 5th place. Rawlins has been bumped right down to 9th as it stands, as is Chris Bell. As we see Lee Taylor tumbling down the order then. But Chris Bell now into 9th place. Marcus Dewsma into 10th. Lee Taylor down in 11th. As Fabio Gill takes up the 5th place running then. He's got Egan, Horn and Rawlins not too far behind. Are we going to see any more changes from these top spots? Whitford definitely away and gone, over 3 seconds ahead of Shelton. Shelton doing a fantastic job to hold on to 2nd place, it must be said. Catalan is slowly closing, but I'm not sure he's doing enough. 1 second is that gap, and Biddulph is not too far behind in 4th. He's going to be thanking his lucky stars that these guys are battling over 5th place position and defending for all they're worth, because That's only going to be playing into the favour of Biddulph, who can slowly pull away from this pack. But it is Gill from Egan, from Horn, from Rawlins. Rawlins looking racy once again, trying to get a move up the inside. We'll watch it from the rear view of Fabio Gill. Of Ian Egan actually then. We'll switch to Ian Egan. He's got Horn, Rawlins and Bell not too far behind. Can he have a smooth entry and exit here onto the back straight? Looking up the inside is Horn. Here we go. It's going to be a drag race down the back straight. And Ian Egan has lost that position to Horn then. A fantastic exit from Horn. Egan has to give up that position, tuck in behind, because he's got James Rawlins not too far behind him as well in 8th place. But slowly but surely we're seeing the top 5 Cupras who finished in the top 5 of race 1. They're making their way back up to the field then. They occupy the top 7 positions. Whitford, Catalan, Biddulph, Horn and Egan, protagonists in race 1, protagonists now in race 2. The rest of the field trying to hold on to what they can, as Sam Shelton is down into 3rd then, and so Catalan has been able to find his way through. It's a Ballas Esports 1-2. I'm sure their team manager is going to be very happy with this one, as Whitford leads the way. Catalan is there in 2nd. Giuli is down in 12th. Cosford is in 13th. It's 2x2s for Ballas Esports, 1 and 2, 12th and 13th. As we'll go through the runners and riders then. Fraser Rostons, 3 laps down. Maybe he's got a DNF on the board. Maybe he picked up too many penalty points because he's shown in 19th place. Some 3 laps down, he's back in the pits. Barry Evans is still going there in 18th place. He's 4 seconds off Hugh Morris, who's 15 seconds off the rest of the pack then, so he must have had problems on board that Honda. Kalowski is there only in 16th place then. He was battling with Cody Cosford in race 1. Not quite got the speed this time around with the reverse grid. He's battling with Paul Stinger. Zachdahl and Kalowski are trading paint for 15th place. Paul Stinger is just a bit further up the field in 14th actually. Again, having a bit of a lonely race is Paul Stinger. Cody Cosford is there in 13th. He's watching this trio battle away for 11th place. Giuli, Juzma and Bell going at it in the Honda and Lynx & Co machines. Just hovering on that top 10 as he's looking for a switchback. Is Marcus Huzma. Is he going to get the job done on Chris Bell this time around? No, he's not. He's actually got to defend from Giuli as they come around to complete another lap. But it is Whitford once again. He's over 5 seconds ahead of Catalan now, his teammate. Shelton down to 3rd. Biddulph in 4th. A change of position. Lee Horn into 5th. Ian Egan into 6th. Gill in 7th. As James Rawlins is still holding on to that 8th place position. Just about. This is a fantastic battle between Rawlins and Taylor. He's on the outside though. He's not going to be able to keep that position. Up the inside goes Lee Taylor. He's going to say thank you very much. Cleanly as you like. That is job done for Lee Taylor. So James Rawlins down to 9th. The man who started 2nd down to 9th. The man who started 1st, he's still in a podium position. As I say that actually, Biddulph is looking to take away my words because he is challenging Shelton. He's looking for a move up the inside here. Is he going to get the job done? He's going to be on the outside for the next turn unless he's got the legs down this little straight. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to outbrake Shelton. Or is he? Looks like he is. Fantastic stuff there from Lloyd Biddulph then. Definitely eating my words. He gets the job done. He's up into the podium positions. This is much better shown from Lloyd Biddulph at race 2 for round 2. He got disqualified from race 2 of round 1. So he's looking to make amends back up into those podium positions. Shelton down to 4th then. And he's not going to be too long before his mirrors are full of Lee Horn and Ian Egan, who are doing battle for 5th and 6th. So we do ride on board with Ian Egan for SOP Esports Racing. As I say that, we switch to Kolowski. He's making a move on Hugh Morris, or is it Zakdal actually? Sorry. Looks like he's making a move on Zakdal, 14th and 15th place. He's looking for a move up the inside. Does he get the job done this time around? No, he does not. He's going to have to check in behind Zakdal once again then. So this is a fantastic battle as we go on board with Fabio Gil then. Actually, Ian Egan under a bit more pressure than I expected. Fabio Gil looking to upset the apple cart. 7th place for Fabio Gil at the minute. He's looking to take it to the Cupras right now, trying to challenge Ian Egan. He's lost some time to Lee Horn there then, so I wonder what's happened to Ian Egan, because he was battling right on the bumper of Lee Horn just one lap previous, but he now has his mirrors full of Fabio Gil for Trip 6 Motorsport. 3 minutes left on the clock here for race 2 at Sepang Grand Prix circuit then. Whitfoot leading the way, pulling that gap out to almost 7 seconds to Matteo Catalan. Biddulph 3.5 seconds further adrift in third, with Shelton in fourth. Lee Horn has slowly pulled away from Ian Egan, who's now doing battle with Gill, and Taylor and Rawlins with Bell rounding out the top 10. Cody Cosford is just outside this in 11th, with Dewsmet and Stinger not too far behind. And then there's that fantastic battle between Zakdal and Kolowski for 14th and 15th place. Slowly dropping further behind is Hugh Morris in 16th, with Barry Evans, Fraser Rostons, and we've actually lost Giuli. Did he pick up penalty points, and that is why he's now in 19th place? As we are riding on board with Lee Horn looking to make a move on Shelton. Does he have the legs down the back straight? He does get the job done then, so Lee Horn is through also on Sam Shelton. Sam Shelton down to 5th place. Is he going to be held on to that 5th place position? Because Ian Egan and Gill are not too far behind. Lee Horn is definitely going to be happy with this. He's up into 4th place. It looked like his race was ruined at the start of this one, but he's worked his way back up beautifully into 4th place. And look at that. Look at the gap he's able to pull on Sam Shelton as soon as he's by. Sam Shelton needs to defend from Ian Egan. Ian Egan looking to move up the inside. Not this time around. So Sam Shelton in that 4th place position, leading the way. Lee Horn, sorry, in 4th place, leading the way. Sam Shelton now defending in 5th from Ian Egan. Looks like we might have the same top 5 from race 1 here, finishing race 2. Only time will tell. We're on to the final lap, so Ian Egan, I think, is the final lap anyway, because the time is counted down to 0. So that means Ian Egan's got one last chance to claim a top 5 spot, as Cody Cosford is still doing battle for that final 10th place position. He's looking for a move up the inside. Is he going to be later of the breakers? He is indeed, smoking those wheels. He overshoots the corner, then he's going to lose multiple positions with that move. That hasn't paid off for him whatsoever. He's going to drop right down the order, Cody Cosford. But Luciano Whitworth takes the win at race number 2, round number 2. A clean sweep for Luciano Whitworth. Fantastic stuff from this man. Is anybody going to be able to stop him in this championship? I do not think so. He's taken 4 from 4. He comes around, flashes the lights once again. He's a happy man. 4 wins out of 4 to start his championship campaign off perfectly. Catalan holds on to 2nd. Biddulph takes 3rd. Lee Horn holds on to 4th, and it's a dash to the line. Doesn't get the job done. Gill actually snatches 5th place away from Ian Egan. They both get the jump on Shelton. Shelton's going to have to settle for 7th place. Lee Taylor's going to bring it home in 8th. James Rawlins is going to bring it home in 9th, with Marcus Juzma in 10th. Chris Bell will have to be happy with 11th. Zach Dahl 12th. Kalowski moved up to 13th. Cosford down in 14th then. He was battling for that 10th place position, but he got it all wrong on the final lap. Stinger in 15th. Morris in 16th. Evans in 17th, with Roston Singuli non-finishing race number 2. That has been some fantastic racing here at Sepang, round 2 of the WTCR Championships. There's your race winner, fastest lap and pole position. He's done the hat trick here at round 2, Luciano Whitworth. Fantastic stuff. Thank you, Brian, for the follow there. I hope you enjoyed the WTCRs, the race room series we've got going here on a Monday night. We do have a few extra spots in the WTCRs that have opened up now. I think we've got 4 spaces remaining if you would like to join us in that championship. And we do still have, coming tomorrow, is the F4s. It's not going to be a live broadcast, but you can join us on the grid. I think there's 10 positions still left on the grid to sign up if you would like to join us for the F4 Race Room Championships. Yeah, thank you very much for everybody who tuned in today to watch Race 1 and Race 2 of round number 2 from Sepang. That is WTCRs here at SOP Motorsport. Wasp, yeah, it was fantastic racing indeed. Up and down the field there was action to be had. Hopefully I'll be back on the grid for the next round. It will come next week, so we don't have a break like we did after round 1. We'll be straight back into it for round number 3 next Monday. And we might be seeing you on Wednesday for the opening round of the sprint series. I just need to sort that out with John.
Yeah, fingers crossed I will be back sooner rather than later. I've got a wee mechanical failing.
Needs his oil change. He's an old man.
Yeah, my pressures are all wrong, and just yeah, I can't talk quickly enough without getting a bit of a twin. So, but yeah, we'll be I'll be back up and running sooner rather than later. So yeah, bit of time off, take it easy, and yeah, back all firing on all cylinders as soon as possible. So yeah, looking forward to it.
We do send our best wishes, John.
And to you too, Simon. We need to get yeah, some round of applause in the chat for Simon, because not only did he go up racing, he is under the weather himself. Oh, see what I mean about talking too much?
It happens to everybody. Yeah,
it really does. It really does. In my case,
right.
It's just old age. We'll do a raid.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll do a raid. Who's online? Is it Linksy again?
No, Andre Steenkamp.
Let's go there then.
So
thank you all for joining us. Jump into the raid. We always like to forward our viewership on.
Yeah, say hi to Andre, South African race room streamer. Races lots of open lobbies and stuff. Very quick, very clean. So yeah, so jump in and say hey, and yeah, cheers again to everyone. I'll leave Simon to say cheerio, and then I'll kick the raid on.
Yep, lovely. Thank you everybody for joining us. Catch you during the week. Good night. Lovely. Thank you.